Hi everyone, there was a little confusion about the applications for three variables, so I picked one to work on. Now this one's a little bit different from a standard problem, but it is the last question from the homework, so I wanted to just kind of show you where we go. So the very first thing I do usually is figure out what my variables are. So in this case, just based on what they're asking for, I have high performance, ultra performance, and extreme performance tires. So I'm going to call X my high performance, Y my ultra, and Z my extreme. So I'm just defining my variables. Okay, and then I'm looking at different parts of the sentence. So it says high performance sells for $50 a tire, ultra is $60, and extreme is $70 per tire. It says last week the revenue generated by the sales of ultra, which is the Y, exceeds the revenue of extreme by $910. So now revenue, that's talking about dollars. So if my ultra dollars, so that's 60 times Y, that's the revenue from ultra tires. And it says it exceeded, so it was more than this 70Z, and it was $910 more. Okay, remember revenue is always dollars, so we're always talking about things in dollars. The XYZ itself is just counting tires, so it doesn't have that unit. It has a number of tires unit. Our next sentence, so that was this first one, revenue generated by ultra exceeded the revenue generated by extreme. Okay. Our next part of this sentence is tire shop sold a total of 237 tires. And so what that means is I have my X and my Y and my Z, and all together it has to be the 237 tires. And then last but not least, it says the total revenue was $13,490. 13490. And again, revenue is a dollar amount, so we need to include our dollars in there. So $50 times X plus 60Y plus 70Z must equal 13490. Okay. Now, in order to make this into a proper system of equations, I need all the variables on one side. So this top equation, I need to move that 70Z over. So I'm going to have 60Y minus 70Z equaling 910. In order to solve this system, I'm going to have to use some sort of elimination, substitution, something. For me personally, I prefer a matrix, so I'm going to use a matrix. Okay? So I'm going to make this matrix. So I have 1, 1, 1. X plus Y plus Z is 237. 50X plus 60Y plus 70Z was 13490. And then last but not least, we had 0X's, 60Y's minus 70Z's equaling 910. Okay. Now our goal in any of these matrix problems is to get it to look like a reduced row echelon form. So 1's on the main diagonal, 0's elsewhere, and then numbers on the end for a system. Okay. So the first thing I can do here is I can do negative 50, row 1, plus row 2, because I want to get this 0, because I already have the 1, and I already have a 0 below there. So I'm going to do negative 50, row 1, plus row 2. And I'm going to replace row 2, right? That's what the arrow means, is replacing. So I have 1, 1, 1, 237. And then I'm going to have 0, 10, 20, and 1640. And then 0, 60, negative 70, and 910. Now just for my own self, to make this problem just a little bit smaller, I am going to reduce both of those last two equations by a factor of 10. So I'm going to do 1/10 row 2, and I'm also going to do 1/10 row 3, just to make them a little bit smaller, because it's a little bit easier to deal with when they're smaller. Okay, so after I do that, I now have 1, 1, 1, 237, 0, 1, 2, 164, and 0, 6, negative 7, and 91. Okay, So now I'm working on my next column. Well, I just got that 1 in the center location, perfectly matched. Now I need to work on the 2 zeros, and I can do those at the same time. So I'm going to use that 1. So now in order to get rid of the first row, second column location, I need a -1. So negative row 2 plus row 1. And then I'm going to replace row 1. And then in order to get rid of the third row, number 6, I would need a -6 row 2 plus row 3 to replace row 3. Okay, so I'm going to do both of those operations. And I'm left with 1 0 0 0 1 0. The middle one's not changing, so this is 2 and 164. I'm going to do the math on the other ones. So 1 and a -2 is a -1. 237 minus 164 is 73. And then I'm going to have a -6. So I have -6 times 2 is -12, minus 7 is a -19. And then I have 164 times -6, which is -984, plus 91, which becomes a -893. Okay. Now I'm very close to solving for z. The only thing I have left to do is to get rid of that 19. So I'm going to do -1/19 row 3 to replace row 3. Okay. And I got the first 2 rows are not changing because I'm not replacing them. And when I do that division, I get 47. So I already know I have 47 extreme performance tires. Okay. And now on my very last step, or second to last, is I'm going to get rid of the other ones. So in order to get rid of the 2, I would need a -2 row 3, adding it to row 2. I would also need just a regular 1, so row 3 plus row 1 to replace row 1. So I have 47, and then here I'm going to end up with 120, and then here I'm going to have 164 minus 2 times 47. That leaves me with 70. Okay, so for my very final answer, in terms of writing it down, I have 120 high performance tires, and then I had 70 ultra performance tires, and then last but not least, those 47 extreme performance tires. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me.